Good morning, Striperizers. Paul K here, and giving it a swing. I'm super excited this week. I just saw stripers not a minute ago right here. Is pushed something up against the bank here and spun around and tried to trap it and took off. Just got here, and that really made my heart better. I saw them with my own eyes, so I know they're here. I just gotta catch them. My name is Paul K. Welcome to Saturday morning outdoors with Paul K. And this series, what I'm concentrating on now is catching the striped bass in the Cape Cod Canal. So hopefully we'll have some action today. It's been a dry spell lately. Trying my best for you guys and letting you know. I'll let you know the conditions and so forth, and show you some cool gadgets and stuff for striperizing. So stay tuned if you like striper fishing in the Cape Cod Canal. And if you like this, like, subscribe, and you know what to do. Here we go. Alright, so we're all settled in here. Today, the conditions, I'm about mid-canal without giving anything away, but guys that know might be able to figure out where I am. And saw it with my own two eyes, so I know there's stripers here. I know there is. Please, God, let me catch one. I'm jonesing for one. So, or five. But today's conditions are 83 degrees. Barometric pressure is steady at 30.01. The moon is in the last quarter of the dying moon. We're heading towards the new moon in about less than a week, I believe it is. Tide is heading east, and I'm on the Cape Cod side, and that's about it. And have actual striper sightings, so I absolutely know they're here, and now you know they're here. So it is spectacular bluebird day, and wind is blowing normally out of the southwest, which that's where it's coming from, southwest. Probably about 8 miles an hour, and I'm ready to go. Let's go. You never know what's gonna float by. Look at that yacht. It's got windows on the bottom, probably where the master bedroom is, or you can lay down and right along the edge of the gunnels and just look out. That must be beautiful. That's spectacular. That is a custom yacht right there. You know, someday. See, now at this spot I'm learning. Every time I come here I'm learning something. It's a beautiful rip forming right here at this stage of the tide. Now I'm going to write that down in my playbook at this stage of the tide, and I'll have this to remember that that's a good fishing spot right there. Those currents are colliding. There might be structure on the bottom that's pushing water up and creating that upwelling, and the bait fish gets disorientated in that, and stripers and other game fish, it's free food, easier food. But right there, beautiful rip forming right there, right in there. Cool, mark it down. Also, the technology in here just never ceases to amaze me. If you look right up and close in there, I wish this had zoom, but there's a tower, and to the left of that tower there's radar, and that's the Army Corps of Engineers navigation radar. They can see every inch of this in their radar for the ships, because for larger ships can be extremely dangerous, I would imagine. How deep they sink into the water. I forget what the word for that is, and how deep a boat sits in the water, and it's 60 feet, 40, 60 feet through here, so they take that all into consideration, and they have to keep an eye on everything. It's a marvel. It's just astoundingly beautiful, interesting place. The land cut. And so we'll get into the tech part of segment of the show. And today I want to talk about leaders. So, like I showed in the instructional video, I love to tie my own leaders, and there's something very satisfying with it. I love all the do-it-yourself stuff when it comes to fishing and hunting and stuff, but good snell knot on your circle hook, and then the fisherman's knot on the other end, right? So, but what this week is about is storing these leaders. Now, how am I going to store these? You went to the trouble of, you know, tying up all these, the good business end of your line. This is what catches the fish. How do I store them? You don't want to just a hunk of hooks and lines all tangled up, so there's got to be a way. So we'll go right back to the Trail Boss headquarters, and I'll show you some alternatives that I thought of, and then I'll come back, we'll shoot back here, and I'll show you how we ended up. So first I came upon this design. Cut a hunk of pool noodle, slit it like that, and then there's your hook and swivel, and kind of goes like this. Slip the swivel in there. That catches. You bring it around and hook that in there. Skipper showed me this, but when you get 5 or 6 on there, it's kind of bulky, you know, and it's just clunky. So that's out. Then I come up with this one. Found this design. Piece of wood, got a nice little measuring ruler on there to measure the fish. Just 5 nails and a piece of freaking wood, right? And it works like this. The swivel goes on there, and the line comes around in the slots, and it just hooks onto an elastic band here and comes around that way. And that's another version. They had old ones from the 30s and 40s. I copied that off of, but once again, kind of clunky for the surf bag. So the brain's always thinking, and I'm trying to come up with a good idea to store the rigs. And back to the beach. And so we're back. So you've seen the solutions that I try to build, and they're functional, but they're clunky. You know, they don't fit well in the surf bag. So the ultimate solution that I come up with is this. It's a leader wallet. I stole the idea from fly fishermen, and it's the greatest thing ever for this. This really works well. It's got pages, and all your hard work made in building all these leaders and everything, you just flip through them. You can put sabikis in there, you know, and excellent solution to how to store your leaders. You know, I take a lot of pride and time to tying all these knots really well and making sure I have the strongest. That's the business end of your line. That's what's the most important part of the line. So you got to go very careful with it, and this protects it. And it's the most elegant solution I've found. So when to find these, it's Cabela's or Bass Pro. I think I got this at Bass Pro in the fly fishing department. And generally these are hard to find, the larger ones, because most of these wallets are geared towards fly fishermen, and most fly fishermen are freshwater, so they're smaller wallets. If you find these big ones, they're not expensive. I think they're $25-30 maybe, but get as many as you can, because it's hard to find these. And I mean, unless you go online, but this is the best solution ever for the storing of the leaders, the business end of your fishing line. And that's today's gadget talk on Saturday Mornings Outdoors. Really the best solution I've ever found for these, and I love these. They're very easy to handle, and protects your hands from getting hooked up, and there's no mat. Very neat and organized. I don't know if you can hear that whistling. I hope this can pick it up, but that's the wind whistling against the correct tautness of the line. And only fishermen get to hear that. And they have very popular in Ireland and Scotland. They're whole harps called Aeolian harps. And they're very old instruments, and they're literally wind instruments. And they make that sound, but they're tuned. Each string is tuned. They probably have 4 or 6 and the strings, different lengths and different tautness, and they make a beautiful sound. And in Ireland, they're very popular, and it's a bewitching sound. I think they are about 1,000 years old, those harps, and just interesting. And you know, fishing, your mind wanders, and we've all heard that many times. But check online. There's videos of true Aeolian harps and absolutely ethereally gorgeous sounds that they make. And you don't play them, you just let them in the wind at the right angle. And some people set them in the windows of their houses, and pretty interesting. But nothing to do with fishing, but the sound is there, and it's part of fishing, and it's mystical. It adds to it. I'm a superstitious guy, and I love stuff like that, eclectic stuff like that. Your mind wanders when you're fishing. Ah, yes, the magical elixir of life. Where would we be without it? Sleeping, basically, I guess. That's a biplane. Every now and then you see them. It reminds me of the Three Stooges episode. Anything the Wright brothers that can do, the Wrong brothers can do. They're cool. Ancient looking machines. He's circling around. Anything the Wright brothers can do, the Wrong brothers can do. Oh. Come on, you remember that Stooges episode? I'm a Stooges freak, I love them. So where I'm located is between the herring run, as far as you can see there, and the Saggy. I'm on the Cape Cod side, and what I want to relate to you is a lot of these holes are going to have, especially as the tide comes in, a lot of thick seaweed here. Yet I've never lost a rig today, you know, or pretty much all summer for that matter. But I'm trying to relate to you, as in the instructional video for fishing the canal here, don't stop reeling. Yeah, you're going to be pulling seaweed off, but when you first cast initially and your bait is sitting on the bottom, there's no seaweed there. The bait is flowing out with the current, and the sinker is holding it to the bottom. Once you start reeling it in, that's where it connects you connect with the seaweed. But don't stop reeling. A lot of times you're going to have 6-pound clumps of seaweed, but don't stop reeling. That's all, until you come in, and that's how you don't get snagged. You hardly ever lose. You get a feel for it. If you do it for a couple hours, it's intimidating. It is. You think you're going to lose your rig on every, and as a beginner at first, until you get the hang of it, you will lose a few rigs. But if you keep at it and you really like bait fishing, which I do, and as well as all the other styles, but bait fishing primarily, it really works. That's the key. Don't stop reeling. And then you can get in these heavy, thick areas like this. And the reason why I'm here is because this is a really good hole. You know, not really difficult, but fairly difficult to fish with that seaweed. But it's a good hole, so it's worth it. But that's the key. Don't stop reeling. Like I keep pounding away, and that's how you fish bait here. You know, and yeah, it looks and can be intimidating, but you'll get the hang of it. And it's worth the strikers. It's worth it if they ever come back. You know, but the beat goes on. Well, I can't believe it. I just had a hit on this rod, and not a bang, slam over hit, but a fairly good size blackfish hit, pretty much. And then a few seconds later, hit on this. So it's something moving, and it'll be interesting to see what happens now. Come on, take it. I can't buy a hit. It's frustrating. All right, you see what I'm talking about? Look at that bad boy, fully custom, blacked out, unbelievable. That's money right there. That thing is bad. They got them 6 times that size, low and blacked out. Unbelievable. So about 7 hours in, and tide's coming up on slack now, and I'm running out of bait. So I'm doing my best for you guys. That's all I can say. This is the slowest drought I've ever had in my life. Just when I decide to do the series on the canal. At least you guys are coming along with me, you know, through the magic of YouTube. But last year, every trip, at least 3 or 4 in the daytime, 3 or 4 schoolies and slots, and it's dry this year. It's an honest show. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I saw stripers here this morning. Had a couple small hits here. They didn't look like striper hits or bluefish hits, but there are stripers here. I definitely saw them this morning right here, but I ain't lucky enough to catch them. And but that's how it is. And I'm refreshed now. The value in it for me, every trip it's just a beautiful place, man. And you can go anywhere you want down here. All these legendary holes, and just have a blast. See a lot of cool stuff, and you learn something every time out. So thanks for watching this time. Hopefully my luck will change. I prayed so much, God's probably sick of hearing me. So with that, like, subscribe, and stick around. Things gotta get better, because they can't get much worse. Trail Boss out.